Problem with being problematic. Get the light beam on me ready for electrostatic. Don't you step into this box if you're not batting. Then my gang got tools. You could call them boy crap, man. This gang got rules, man. You better watch your passes. This ain't not.
What's going on, guys? This is the Totally Blitzed Fight Club. These are y'all, Paul, Pick'em, Win'em, Concha. And as always, I'm joined with.
Hey, you already know that boy Kev. Back in blue, Savoy, you feel me? I had to let y'all boys know we stay in blue out here, you know what I'm saying? Get into the blue ones, if you feel me, you know what I mean. But we cracking. This is another episode of the Totally Blitz Fight Club. Fuck what you heard. Who else we got with us today, pal? Woo!
Will Shiesty, cracking a Bud Diesel.
Ooh, not a
the
Bud.
podcast going right.
Cheers up. I got some of that dirty blonde.
My dog, my boy said I done woke me up today and went to work, had a good time. Now let's open up this Budweiser and let's talk this motherfucking fight.
Yeah, man, that was the UFC Fight Night London over there. Fucking Aspinall versus Drago for the headliner. I think it was honestly the best card of the year. 7 first round finishes, 9 total finishes, which are both UFC records. Like that was just insanely banging them out, and 9 bonuses to all the fighters. So them boys are what, Kev? Chasing that blue.
Oh, them boys getting them blue ones, kid. Fuck what you heard.
50 large. It's still 50,000, right?
50K for each, yep. So I don't have the math in front of me, but I just know he paid a lot of money.
Hey, that boy Dana gonna break some bread now if you see some shit. I give him that. He gonna break some bread. I don't know about Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah.
Hey, and they had Eddie Hearns was in the building with Dana White sitting side by side, which is kind of interesting. But I just find it kind of funny because there was like boxing events going on at the same day, and like Eddie Hearns was busy chilling with the UFC for the day, which I found kind of dope.
I'm not the biggest Eddie Hearns fan.
But before we hop on to the actual fights themselves and break down all that, there's some quick news. We're gonna breeze over real quick because it's still an ongoing story with all the shit going on. But just the other day, I think literally yesterday at like fucking midnight, so I think like today technically, Jorge Masvidal pulled up Colby Covington out of Steak. I think it's called Poppy Steak or Steak Poppy restaurant in Miami. Hit him with that 2-piece in the soda. Hit him with a 2-piece soda.
Biscuit on the side.
Yeah, with a biscuit on the side. He had a hoodie on and a mask, and he had like 3 other people with him that rolled up. And Colby dipped back into the restaurant, waited for police to come because he felt like he thought the 4 men, that the other 3 people with him were being aggressors as well. So he says, and cops came, battery charges on Jorge. Jorge posted a video the same day calling it the face challenge. He said, look at my face, looking good, talk shit, you gotta back it up. So how do y'all feel? I want y'all to react to the news.
Well, this goes out to Colby's front tooth.
Oh, that part. That he did fracture a front tooth. So he did
make Colby smile again.
The Colby pack.
The Colby pack.
What about you?
No, honestly.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. No, honestly, I just feel like Jorge's meant for the streets. I feel like he does way better outside the ring than he does inside the ring.
Okay. Actually, I don't think I've heard anyone say that to you.
I mean, when you think about it, all his backyard fights and then his backstage fights, Leon Edwards now, Colby Covington, he's undefeated.
That is true. Nah, and he has said in his street fights, like, hey bro, this is Miami. There ain't no one-on-one. So, like if I see you, my crew sees you, we all hate you or some shit like that. I'm like, he ain't lying. I know how that should be. How about you, Kev? How do you feel about the Colby and Jorge incident?
I want to tell a story about that what you just said reminded me of a story about some shit that you and me did at a gas station to a nigga one time. But we're gonna say the stories for a later time. We'll make a story time episode, but just don't probably fucking niggas up. But
undefeated.
But I look at it like this, but that shit is beef, kid. Let me say this is day one. This shit was beef. This shit wasn't over. Literally, they said Jorge said I'm gonna beat up Kobe, and then I'll probably beat him up in the parking lot afterwards too. Like this is real beef. Niggas talk about motherfuckers, mamas, brothers, sons, daughters, wives, ex-wives. What? Y'all lucky y'all making millions, so y'all not gonna do y'all not really gonna do all of what you all wanted to do, but like, nah, man, it's beef, man. At the end of the day, it's beef. Kobe's gonna press charges, but Masvidal probably has some great lawyers, so we're gonna figure something out. But like, yeah, it's beef, kid. It's on that. It's on site. And I like it to happen again.
Yeah,
it's on site.
The only downside to it, because honestly, I think everyone when they saw the news, like, was like kind of excited, like, oh, like this is something that we haven't seen in a long time, because like Dana White's done his best job making sure that fight, because he wants everyone, as the UFC's had a hard time selling. They're only allowed in like 7 states for a reason. Like they just got to New York 5 years ago, which was a massive deal. They're trying to show themselves like, hey, we're boxers, we're professionals, we're classy. And then so like I don't like, hey, do you, my man? But I do, as a business side of view, I know Dana White saw this shit and was just like, bro, what the fuck? Like,
and they don't play about that shit either. If you watch the Ultimate Fighter, like when Charles Sonnen fought the Brazilian dude, like he's spazzed about that shit. He's like, don't want to fucking fight for free, then I'll set it up and fight and we can fight for fucking free. And I was just like, damn, Dana, tell they ass, man. He said, y'all perform like fucking thugs. And we're not fucking thugs, we're fighters. And I was like, hey, tell they ass, Dana, leave the thugging to me. Tell them to stay in their lane.
Dana speaks, man. He reminds you of like David Stern. Like he got all the secrets where all the bodies are at. Like, hey, bro, y'all gonna listen to me and shut the fuck up right now. But also, with that Silva thing, it was a lot of negative publicity, which Dana don't want, because when they got introduced to a lot of the mainstream media was John McCain, the Arizona senator who ran for president that everyone knows about. He was the biggest person that was like, it's just human cockfighting. And almost every other senator ran with that. Like, oh, okay, like John McCain says that. Like, yeah, it has to be true. And then now it's just been an uphill battle from there. So that's why, to me, I just see this as like, man, like, depending on how this portrays and stuff like that, it could just be another step back for the UFC, which I hate, because this shit, fucking look at London, first time back. And what was this card that we're about to talk about? A banger.
I don't think it's nothing major. It's probably going to be a blip, just because, like, this is going to be a blip. Like, it's not going to be nothing major, because it's not like this is something that we probably saw coming. Like, they can literally defend that. Like, this is something that's bigger than the fighting today. Like, it'd be different if, like, if John Jones and Izzy were to start fading out and
well, that brings up, I was about to ask Will, because I wasn't in UFC yet, and I know Will was. When John Jones and Daniel Cormier had that skirmish that ended up, like, people had like a broken nose and stuff like that during the face-off.
The face-off.
What happened after that? Because I know police was involved, charges and stuff. Like, did anything come about it, or suspension?
I don't think anything came about it. I don't think. I honestly, I can't remember much, just because I remember. And I also remember more of like when Daniel found out that he couldn't fight John because he failed the drug test afterwards, right before that fight.
Oh,
but no, that face off, dude. Like, I don't think anything happened to them, just because those two are like Kyle Kevin said, they're superstars. Like those are untouchable. Like anything that would happen would, like how you said earlier, talking about Jorge Masvidal, like he's just gonna pay a fine. Most likely, he's gonna pay a fine. That's it. They probably just pay fines, and yeah.
That makes sense. I do hope it does nothing. It is like what Kev said, just a blimp. Because shit, UFC just keep growing.
But them boys is eating right now. They just gotta keep going out worldwide. They keep going worldwide. They gonna eat. Nobody gonna give a fuck about the States.
Yeah. We'll always have the Apex and Las Vegas fights. So.
Yeah, like, come on now, come to Florida, come to Gainesville.
Jacksonville, UFC 274, 2 belts on the line.
Hey, how much some tickets is?
Nosebleed start at $400.
And my nose,
not bad.
My nose will not be bleeding. We're gonna save up until we get to the courtside. I want sweat on me. I want niggas is beefing at the top. I want to be beefing with niggas like, man.
I want to be talking to Dana like, yeah, bro, sign him.
Nah, I'm looking at Kobe. Hey, fuck you, fade me, fuck you. I mean, that's an ass.
But after the races, we're done with the news on the MMA. Quick drive-by. So UFC London, fucking phenomenal fight card. I loved how they stacked it up with nothing else but Europe, England, Wales, New Zealand. Like, there's basically anyone who's from that area. Oh, you want to fight? We'll put you on this card. And a lot of them showed out.
Can we take a second and clap it up for them London fans, though, boy? Them boys was loud, kid. I thought it was a football game the way they was just, like somebody got split. Oh my gosh. Like, you felt the energy from over here. And like the way they was booing, who's dude in the main card? Not Aspinall. How you say his name? The Russian dude?
Oh, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, Volkov. I didn't think it was a bad guy. I thought he was a high guy. You know how
usually a fan favorite.
Yeah. He coming down. Boo, 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 boo. I was like, damn, kid. He did. He looked like he great guy. He looked like a good guy. I don't know.
And a great stand A citizen.
Yeah, it was boo.
He's just guilty by
You would have thought he was
association.
Kurt Angle in this motherfucker. Like,
No, for real. That the atmosphere, what's the word? Electric. That shit was fucking, yeah, that shit was exactly what he said. And hey, Dana White said himself after the card, he said, "Did y'all not hear those fans? Like, we're gonna have another card here ASAP. I'm moving things in the schedule."
nice.
Before we hop onto the main card and we break down the Jaya Herbert and Taporia fight, I want to give a quick shout out to some of the newcomers. I don't want to say newcomers, but some of the prelim fights that kind of were some bangers. First off, Paul Craig. I don't know if y'all are on there yet, but Paul Craig, fan, like another Europe man. He was getting absolutely pummeled, and then triangle puts that boy to sleep, ends the fight right there, first round. One of the best fights on the card, honestly. Another bonus winner, and then the other one I just want to shout out is Mackeff, first ever UFC fight, and they basically hyped this kid up like he's gonna be something special. 7-0, and he came in, got a first round submission in 58 seconds. So he did his thing. Can't doubt that boy.
Tough kid. Did you actually see Stefan Struve, the UFC heavyweight? He used to be a heavyweight, but now I think he's like a reporter. But he actually met that kid when he was like 15 years old or something.
No.
And then the kid, yeah, and he was like, he told Stefan he's going to be in the UFC soon and he's going to be a superstar like him. And now he is like however much years later it was, but
he's here.
Yeah, he's in the UFC, fucking absolutely electric in his first fight.
And he went on Twitter right afterwards and told Dana White and everybody, like, "Hey, bro, he ain't touching me. I'm healthy. I'm ready to fight tomorrow."
Fuck yeah.
Damn.
Like that was like some Shimilet, or I can't. Shemaev, yeah, like that's what he's like. That's something similar. I was like, oh, this kid's gonna be electric. Just keep an eye on him, Mackeff. But we have to talk about the electricity factory known as the main card that happened. Got to start off with a bang, and boy, did they. Jaya Herbert versus Taporia. Taporia gets that knockout in the second round. I know y'all saw it. We posted it. Our fans saw it. Talk to him.
That shit was precision at its finest. My boy said, boom. Like, that shit was cool. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the card. Like, I promise you, I didn't see that coming. It was a close fight, I felt like. But, like, when he gave him, because the fight started and I had to go get some blunts. And I was like, fuck, I'm all out of blunts. But I was like, I told the ride, I was like, hey, give it 10 minutes. These boys look like they're finna go at it for 3 rounds. 48 seconds after I said that, boom!
Lights out.
Lights out. Jaw removed.
That shit was nice. Hey, they set the tone. Shout out that boy right there. What his record is?
Taporia's 12-0, and he's the one that was beefing with Paddy, and he called him out. That was one of the more exciting things. He said, like, give me that blonde head bitch.
He might need to throw hands with my dog Paddy real quick. I don't know, man. That boy the truth.
Well, Will, what did you think about this first fight on the card?
I agree with Kevin, bro. I think that shit was the flint that set that place on fire. Like that was crazy, man. Like that was the cleanest. Like it's like he just knocked his jaw off. Like
took the roof off.
My God. Yeah, like you watch that shit happen in real time, and it's just so fast. Like he fucking drops like he got shot in the head. Like it's crazy.
Nah, it was like one of those like, hey, you want to see me hit him? Hey, you want to see me hit him again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, fucking crazy though, dude. Like
I just want to give a little shine to homeboy because I will say Taporia was a -600 favorite to go into the fight, which is massive. Like to give you terms, Kev, I have to bet $60 on him to win 10. Like that's how big of a favorite, which is, and you only see these odds in like boxing. Like this is like, you don't usually see on UFC. It's usually kind of similar competition. So he was supposed to win, but Herbert, even though he lost first round, very first exchange, dropped him with a head kick.
Yeah.
Like that was
work on him.
That made me know, like, oh shit. Like immediately I was just like, did he just upset? Like I was just thinking of all the people making mad money, just thinking like, oh screw it, I'll throw a couple bucks on Herbert. I was just a massive underdog. And like, but dropped him. Taporia had great ground game, brought him down immediately to like save himself. And then they stood up and they went back to banging. It was kind of like
it was banging
an exchange too, because like Taporia would win one exchange, but then Herbert on the like as he's getting hit would tag him with a left on the way out, and this is like, oh shit, like they both they doing it.
Rock and sock them.
One thing I've learned from sports this season is don't sleep on a motherfucker with the last name Herbert. I don't know. He got some heart in him. That's all I gotta say on that one.
Yeah, he'll stand in there. We'll bang it out and let the better man win. On to the next fight. We had the two ladies, the only girls on the card, and honestly, shit, like they put on for the women, bro. Like you had Molly Meatball McCain versus. Let me get her first. Now I don't want to disrespect her. I know it's Carolina. I think it's Luna Carolina, but. How did y'all feel about this fight as I try to find her name?
I heart meatballs. But that was fucking nasty. Oh shit. I was explaining that shit to somebody, right? So that was the nicest elbow I've seen in a while. But I was explaining to somebody, imagine like, all right, you don't understand how hard that shit is. For that to be that precise and that hard and that smooth. Imagine a punch that hurts, right? Now your elbow is tougher. So imagine an elbow, right? But now you imagine an elbow with all the velocity. You know, I have to use my fucking
full 360.
Oh, what lights immediately? It's just like so cold and so nice, and just how comfortable she was to set that shit up like that. That shit was nice. That's why I heart meatballs.
Yes, dude. Molly Meatball. She fucking she started that streak for the Brits, man. She absolutely murdered that lady, dude. I've never seen somebody get crucified like that. That was crazy. Absolutely baptized.
Yeah, and that picture that they posted right afterwards of her going over the cage and
the ref like
such a cold pick. Molly from the jump just swarmed her and just overwhelmed her, bro. Like she was doing the Anderson Silva, hands behind my back, the whole like no respect type. Not I won't say respect, but just like I'm in a different class and I'm gonna show everyone right now how much better I am than you. Sorry.
Right.
Even at one point, Luana was her name. It's not Luna. Luana. She threw a fucking flying knee. McCain blocked it and literally finger wagged at her like she's Matumbo or something. And I was just like, like I knew some of her because she's coming from Liverpool, the same spot as Paddy the Baddy. They both fought on the last card together, so they're kind of like package deal. You get Molly, you get Paddy, and like she's shit. Like
I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about Paddy being so close to it, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna let it slide for now.
Oh, yeah, get you slide on controlled, Kev.
Yeah, so don't be touching my meatballs.
RIP to Carolina, but that's still an elbow. May you hopefully recover because you were not with us no more. On to the next fight. We had some young, exciting action to start us off. We jumped into a legend in the UFC, Gunnar Nelson, who before this fight was tied for the most UFC welterweight submissions with 6. And he's still tied, but like that should have, like, if you don't know him, just know that he is a submission guy. And like this whole fight, this is what he showed. Like he didn't get the submission, but he took that back, sat on that back, and just put the body triangle in, and this. Oh, you can't do anything. I'm just gonna keep punching you in the face, overwhelm you the whole fight. And he fought his fight, and that's what it showed to me. Like shout out to Gunnar. He don't ever fight off, so hopefully we see more of him because he is legit, and I want to see him fight some legitimate competition. Sato. No disrespect, but he was a fill-in fighter. So just kind of expect what you expect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Gunnar went out in there. He just worked, man. That was a normal day in the office. Yeah, that was literally just like a filler arc in that main card.
A filler arc?
Yeah, that was just a filler arc. That was just like, you can't have too much excitement. You know, you gotta save it. Can't get burnt out.
Yeah, for you to enjoy something, you have to like dislike something. Like for you to love, you have to hate.
Right, you got to compare it to something else.
I'm not gonna lie to you, boy. I was faded as fuck. I don't remember this fight for some reason. Like I remember a nigga whooping. I remember seeing the girls knock the shit out, and I remember somebody get whooping somebody's ass before Paddy the Baddy came on. I just can't remember what happened in this fight for some reason.
This was a very uneventful fight. It was mostly on the ground. What was it? He had 8 minutes control time, so more than half of the whole fight's on the ground. Sato only had 34 total thrown strikes because, like I said, like he connected 16 of 34, but still, you only throw 34 strikes. It's not his fault. He was stuck in a body triangle with the guy on his back and just punching him, and like he was just stuck. And I felt for him towards the third round because it was like, here we go again.
Yeah. Same old shit, dog. Just a different day.
Yeah, shit. They scored it at 30-26 across the board. So that means 2 rounds were at 10-8. And yeah,
them 10-8s is hurtful.
You only get those if the judges believe that there was a moment where the fight was about to be ended. So you have to be really whooping the guy's ass when you get that. On to the next fight. After we get through the filler, we have 3 back-to-back bangers. All 3 first round KOs, first round finishes. Open us off. The person who took the roof off the gaff was Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, beating Kazula Vargas. First round submission, boy. Kev, you said his name a few times. I know you've heard of him, and I know the more research you've done on him, the more you love him. So I want you to introduce your boy.
Hey man, we talking my dog Paddy the motherfucking Baddy, you motherfuckers. But bro, the truth, bro's ground game is crazy. His striking, the strike is there. I like it. But bro, nasty on the ground. He controlled the fuck out of it, bro. And like, you know, I love me a good rear naked choke. Like you can't just. It's classic, simple. Get him up out of there. You can't do nothing about that. Top real quick, big homie. We in my country. I got to get you up out of here real quick from the people. That boy's a truth, and I like him. He's electrifying. He talks that shit. And like at first, originally they kept calling him Paddy the Baddy, and I thought they was on some real weird shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, but motherfucking
across the pond.
But I was like, oh, when I heard him talk, I was like, oh, this man's a motherfucking leprechaun. I understand now. Like this man's wild.
No, and his intro music, one of a kind. He's the only person to come out to fucking house techno music because he just feels like it gets the place amping. Like he just get there. Hey, let's just get this shit like a party, bro. Like,
yeah, he gonna talk that shit. I like a motherfucker that's gonna talk that shit.
How do you feel, Will? Because I know you like Paddy, but you also keep it kind of like there's some holes in the game. So I would like to hear how you felt about this fight.
Yeah, I love Paddy. I see that's my problem though, is like he is like really good at shit talking. He's really good at hyping the house up, getting like everybody amped up, getting the fans on his side. And he's good at like all the media and all the press. But like all this hype and like even that first fight, like Conor McGregor comparisons and shit, like even if he didn't want it, he still got those comparisons. And like he's getting like knocked down in the first round of each fight. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I like this ain't I don't think it's such a super huge jump in competition that he was just fighting. But I don't know. This shit just kind of like makes me question like why is the hype continuing to be this real if I'm watching it? Like I 100 respect to the rear naked choke, absolutely. But that was just
Classic.
I was just kind of surprised that he got knocked down like that again.
And it was the very first exchange too, which was kind of
The
like
very first exchange.
I will say you brought up a good point with the competition because John McCarthy, everyone respects Big John McCarthy in UFC world. He's basically like the godfather of it. And he basically Big John. He basically was just saying like he's seen him fight better competition over in Cage Warriors. That's all opinion and interpretation, whatever you believe. But it is just shocking because it, like you said, it's not his fault he's getting compared to Conor. He's just so good on the mic and he sells and he's just electrifying. You can't help but get behind him. And he's different. He has a personality that people click with immediately. And so it's not his fault. So, but unlike Conor though, because Conor was just like ragdolling through the like first round.
Yes.
My
God.
I love Paddy. That's my boy. His one issue that I pointed out coming into the fight was he keeps his chin up. That's what everyone kept saying about him. And you see it is like he gets caught on a lot of things because he's overly excited or he's just himself. I guess like it's just him in the ring.
Yeah.
And as long as once he gets that chin under control, his hands aren't the best. He'll improve, get better coaches, stuff like that. His ground game is elite. I said that too. You didn't debate it, but you did say like you thought it was okay. I was like, I don't know. I think his ground game kind of like he's okay on his back. He's never uncomfortable, at least in some of the stuff I've seen against people. So seeing him get dropped, I'm not surprised. But him finishing on his back and stuff like, hey, that's on getting the back. That's what he does. And
yeah, no, fair enough. I'll give him that absolutely. Like he absolutely cleaned up on his back, but like I said, it just with his chin, he keeps keeping his chin high and like firing from the hip. Dude, fucking just swings like I don't know. He's just swinging with everything he has. He's being a scouser, just fighting like he is, but a scouser. But he's just getting knocked down, and like this is just crazy to me. Like I don't hate him. He's like my favorite fighter right now, to be honest. Like this shit's just hilarious to me. Like he's like Paddy the Baddy taking over the UFC. Like this is the face of the UFC. Like I need that to happen.
Yeah, no, it'll be exciting. UFC's gonna be fucking electric coming in these next few years. Next fight we have the co-main event of the night. We had Arnold Allen, who's still undefeated, defeating Dan Hooker with a first round KO, TKO via punches. Dan Hooker, who we love, who we respect. That boy's nice. I just personally don't think 145 is his weight, and I think he should never fight at 145 again, and he should go back to 155. And if anything, get a couple wins and retire because I think his body has so much wear and tear and everything going on. I think it's about time to put up those gloves. And I don't think he's ever – I personally never thought he was going to fight for a belt, so not too shocked he's not getting that shot. But I think Arnold Allen, on the other hand, is going to fight for a belt one day. And he looked like he put all the featherweights on notice because that was his biggest complaint. People, he's running through nobodies. He's running through nobodies. It's hard to compare him when he fights nobodies and he's making it look easy. Well, he just made Dan Hooker look easy. And like,
my God,
respect. I love Arnold Allen, and I feel bad for Dan Hooker. He looked miserable pre-fight, and he looked miserable post-fight. And he's never looked the same after Dustin Poirier got their fight together. So hopefully things start turning around for that boy.
Yeah, honestly, dude, it's just crazy. I couldn't believe it that it was that easy for Arnold Allen. Like Dan Hooker was still throwing some good shots. He had some good counter punches, but like I don't know. I just feel bad for Dan. He did look horrible before, after, and during. I think honestly, what he needs to do is I could see him still fighting like 2 or 3 times a year, but he needs to go to welterweight so bad. Like that's like his middle ground. I feel like that would be like good enough for him to not kill
He's small.
himself to make weight, and then he could still like welterweight right now needs the most competition. Like literally the two biggest stars outside of the champ just got in a fucking fight at a Miami steakhouse last night. Like
He needs
the
to do it.
welterweight needs more competition, and one of those guys is like 35 and fucking 17 or 18 or whatever.
Well, I know Kev used to cut weight with wrestling. Kev, if you're walking around at 200, 205, right? You're 6', 6'1". Where would be like a natural wrestler's like resting range if that's your walking rate?
To walk around at 205, you would cut down 185, especially at a professional level because you're competing for a championship. 170 is when you get it. 175, 172, 173 when you get dangerous. And then 163 is like you're killing yourself, kid. What the fuck you got going on? You're literally waking up to cut weight in the morning. You can't go back to like more than 180 if not, because you're probably not gonna make weight for the next one. So how much is he bruh cutting?
This fight was at 145.
That's insane.
And that's why we think he should go to welterweight, which is 170, I believe.
Yeah.
Like he's been fighting at 155 for like predominantly his career right now. So he just tried to cut weight. I think he instead should go up in weight class. But that just gives some people some perspective on like
him and Izzy walk around at the same weight, damn it.
Yeah, but that's what I told Will, I think off camera before, was this is like Anderson Silva when he was a champion. His training partner was Lyoto Machida, who had championship caliber skill, but you can never fight the same weight class as your number 2. So he has to either go up or go down, and that's what Dan Hooker has to do. He cannot fight at 185 with Anderson with Izzy, so he chooses to go down in weight.
It'd be like that.
Yeah,
It was crazy, man. The way they spar together, they should just fucking fight. Like,
yeah, they coming from New Zealand. They probably have that brotherhood, trying to like New Zealand versus everyone else type shit. You know, like small packers. There's not many other New Zealand fighters really, and they like Robert Whittaker.
Right. I feel like when a fight like that happened though, like it wouldn't be like as impactful to the audience because like there's no coaching in a fight like that. It's like, yo, y'all go in there and figure it out. So there's probably not gonna be too much shit talking to build the fight up, all types of shit.
Yeah, because even Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, like Tito never wanted to fight Chuck Liddell for that exact reason. Oh, that's my training buddy. That's my guy. Eventually they did though, but that's a side point. Yeah. But Arnold Allen, yeah, he looks spectacular. I think calling out Calvin Kattar, who just came off a win on Giga. I think that who's also like Arnold Allen should be ranked 5, maybe like right in that range of 5 to 7. Calvin Kattar is right at 6. I think that's a perfect fight. Whoever wins goes on to fight for the belt. Like I think that should be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next fight on the list, we have the main event. I'd like Kev to take this one. I know Kev was saving himself. This was his boy. I mean, I fuck with this boy heavy, but he got Tom Aspinall winning by submission against the legend himself, Alexander Volkov, number 5 ranked UFC heavyweight in the world. Kev?
See, there's something about that eye, that look you got when you're about to go to war. There's that tiger. You seen the eye of the tiger. See, it's because I watched Rocky so many times. I could tell. I could just tell at this point. But Aspinal Wong, I didn't know either of these people were. Well, I still don't know who they are, truthfully. But Aspinall walked in there ready to show out. He wasn't shook by the lights even slightly. And he came and did what he struck amazingly. Strikes there, all the way there. motherfucking his takedowns. What he got? 2 takedowns, set him up, knocked him down.
First round.
And then straight armbar, bro. He never looked composed, shook, composed. He probably was ready to go fight tomorrow. Like, well, maybe not tomorrow, but that boy lives the truth. He looks like he wants to be there. He's built for this shit. Now he wants to show out, and he did his thing in London. And hey, boy, get that man a beer, kid. I don't want to hear nothing else.
No motherfucking beer, and he got 2 of them. He chugged them both same time. Will, I'm gonna ask you the same question. How do you feel about it?
Oh man, dude, I'm fully content on Aspinall now, dude. He's absolutely like legit heavyweight. I've seen a lot of places putting him at like fighting Tai2 with Boston next, or the Cyril Gane. Obviously, I don't think he's ready for Gane.
Very similar skill set, though.
Very similar skill set, absolutely, dude. His speed is fucking crazy. Like watching him, the finishing takedown that he had on him, just dodging a kick, then dodging that punch, and then leading smoothly into that takedown. It was fucking amazing. No, and he just made short work of him on the ground, like. And that's it's a lot harder to work on somebody like Volkov because he's got like a fucking like 84-inch reach. Like he's got long fucking arms.
Yeah, no, Volkov.
It's a hard boy to
say like he doesn't get taken down often. Like he's big, like 6'7", like, and his reach is insane. So like he's smart. Like his IQ is insane for a fighter. So he does keep that distance.
Right, and he's huge. Like I don't think people understand that. Like he is like wide. Like you don't see it like from the camera, but like trying to like wrap around somebody like that is that wide, and like he's got thick ass legs. That man's hard to break down like that too.
Hey man, and I've heard this like a million times, but one more time, he's beating a former champion. Like that boy is in truth.
Yeah. And those 2 takedowns he got. Personally, I like there's a difference between some takedowns, and this is it right here. Because with the introduction of Khabib and Islam, a lot of the takedowns that we're seeing now are you dragging him into the cage, you get him, and you slowly take him down methodically, pull him over, or a judo throw maybe, but like that was like a legit Goldberg-esque spear. Like those are like a Chad Mendez, Georgia St. Pierre, like the old school takedowns where it was one solid, smooth action, arms wrapped down, I'm on top of it. Like, and I haven't seen a takedown like that in a while, especially from a big, like the way, like it looks slow to like average person, but these are like 260. They're in the ring at like 260. Like they're not like for Aspinall to do it at the speed he did. That's exceptionally fast for like a man his size. And his one thing that everyone talked about was his hands. So and then like I found out he trained with Tyson Fury for a long time. Like it makes sense. They're both from the same little area, so why not? And then like Aspinall's father ran a dojo, opened a dojo and ran it for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like he has this like pedigree about him, where it's like he was born to be a fighter. Like he came, like everything was set up in the stars for this boy, and like he's like honestly. Outside of Gane, I see a case for him being in every heavyweight from 4 above. Like Ngannou's wrestling might be a problem, but like his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like he could catch you in an armbar. He could catch you in a triangle. He could catch and we haven't seen much of it, so a lot of people couldn't score it or talk about it. But we finally got to see it here. Because why? Oh, he knows his IQ is high. And that's what this fight showed me. Like he knew that Volkov might be a better striker. Maybe. He has a distance. He's smart. He's fought people stronger than him. He's probably fought people faster than him. So, but he was like, but the one thing he won't be able to stop is my takedown. And I'm going to take him down. I don't care if it's an ugly fight. And got him up out of there. Made the number 5 heavyweight in the world look like an unranked bum. I don't know. Like, do you want to see the Tai2? I'm going to ask y'all. The Tai2 of Boston versus Aspinall. Do y'all want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's either Gane or however you say bro name.
Cyril Gane.
Hey, like they said, Gane was in the crowd. What's he called? Stylebender wanted him to what it said that I would have just gone truthfully since he's right there and Gondo got a fight coming up. But like, and because what's it called? That boy Mbaku is stuck in on rehab right now from the surgery, so he can't fight, so he's not fighting. And then they say they might have to bring the interim belt in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking Aspinall too, like immediately. I don't know if that's the or Ty, how he says his name.
Uvasa.
Yeah, we'll see, but it might be early for him. At the same time, you could have said the same thing about Volkov.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think, honestly, my personal opinion, I was never big on Ty because he's shown a lot of heavy hands, but heavy hands only get you so far. I haven't seen much outside of this happen because Greg Hardy, who, if you saw the first episodes, Greg Hardy is an absolute bum who never did, like, and he almost
got released.
Really almost knocked out Tai Tuivasa in like a stand and bang fight, and it
dead
ass. Back. So like I think he's beating some good guys, and like Derek Lewis is no chump, but like it was mostly a stand and bang fight. He didn't have to worry about Derek Lewis is nice wrestling because Derek Lewis is like, oh, I'm just gonna bang with you, like we're gonna bang, and he lost the bang battle. But I think Aspinall, I think some people like if it goes to the ground, like I think most most like big fights will, like most fights that are gonna be 5 rounders and stuff will go to the ground, and that's where if he can't do anything, that's where I don't really like the setup for Tai Tuivasa. I think they're gonna keep them away from each other to keep their push rising. Because they're both like superstars, and then like maybe next year we'll get this fight, and maybe Tai Tuivasa is gonna be more polished.
Honestly, I think the Tai Tuivasa versus Aspinall fight's perfect because right now Tai is also riding on so much he's riding on so much of a wave because he is like a wild card. Like he literally is an Australian street fighter. Like that's how he came into this. He's a street fighter, so like you see it every fight he's had. But he's literally knocking every single person out. So it's just going to keep rising and rising. And then the only other person right now, other than like the guys that are banging in the top 3, like Derek Lewis, Cyril Gahn, and Francis, they don't have a lot of like other people that are like creating a lot of heat other than Aspinall and
maybe John Jones, but that's like no one knows what the John Jones heavyweight's going on.
Right, but I would take the Tai Tuivasa fight because it's like a wild card versus a guy who is pretty much just Cyril Gahn rising up the ranks. He's just slaughtering guys at this point, making his way up the ranks. But I don't know. I think that fight would be perfect.
I like it. I think that should be entertaining as fuck. And then like we're gonna get a chug at the end of the fight.
Yeah, no matter what. And I actually see
either way.
I even see him like if one of them knocks each other out or whatever, whoever wins, I see like them both still like arms around each other, drinking out of the shoeies together.
Yeah.
Like they're both just like warriors, or they're gonna embrace it.
I'm still not approving of that. COVID is still a thing.
But that's the UFC London's main card. I'm gonna let that boy Kev wrap us up.
Hey man, if you didn't know, I don't give a fuck. If you still ain't know, Paul don't give a fuck. And if you really ain't know, I'm positive Will don't give a fuck. You feel me? So we gonna let you know anyways. This been the Totally Blitz Podcast, Fight Club, you feel me? UFC London recap, and boy, it was a bang if you missed it. Ha ha. But don't worry, we covered all the action for you, you feel me? So this has been another great episode of Totally Blitz. This is your boy Lil KK, aka the People's Champion by Paul Pick'em, Winter Costa, and Will Shiesty in this motherfucker. We out. Yeah.
The medicines. We've been on that rock star regimen, knowing that I'm heaven sent, higher than I ever been. I got a problem with